Let's just go ahead and do it. There's 31 teams in the NHL. What that means is that at some point in this process, I was going to do one with 3 previews in a day, and I thought, you know what? I did the Islanders. I did the Rangers. They both look like they're going to be pretty near at the bottom. Let's just throw Ottawa in there because Ottawa alphabetically is next. And then I could just do 2 a day after that. Rather than just say Winnipeg for the day to themselves. It'll be Washington and Winnipeg to close it out. 2017-18 was the worst year that and I have to say this. I have watched every season that the Ottawa Senators have played. This past season was more miserable than the 10-win season they had when it was their first year. Their expansion year of 10 wins was abysmal on the ice, but it was a good group of guys. You could tell they liked each other. You could tell that there was some camaraderie there. They just didn't have the talent to get out of the cellar. And it was a likable team. This team came apart at the seams this past year. And it's weird because they had 98 points the year before. And I predicted them to make the playoffs this past year. There were people who didn't. I thought Montreal would miss and Ottawa would make it. And it seemed like there was a belief that one or the other would miss the playoffs, not both. 98 points, though, and they almost took out Pittsburgh, if you don't count the part where Pittsburgh won. The year before they had 85, the year before 99, the year before 88. So every second year they make the playoffs. But this felt different. This didn't feel like a one-year setback like the 88-point or the 85-point season. This wasn't a year where you can look and go, well, if it wasn't for that 5-game stretch, they would have made it. No, this 67 points, this legitimately shows just how bad and awful they were. And this is a team that's made the playoffs 16 out of 22 years. So they had a very awful start to their time as a team back in the early 90s with 10 wins. But once they made the playoffs, they were a playoff team for quite a while after that. And then, they've had their runs. They had their run to the Stanley Cup final in 2007 where they came up short against the Anaheim Ducks, but these things happen. And you look at their team, Pierre Dorion was one of the best GMs in the league last year. This year, I don't think you'll hear anybody saying that. Guy Boucher is going into year 3 as the boss for the Ottawa Senators. And again, genius, GOAT. And by GOAT, I don't mean greatest of all time. I mean, GOAT was an insult as recently as seemingly 2 weeks ago. It's a team, though, that you look at, and there is so much uncertainty that I had to change the format a little bit for this team. Stone is the number 1 cap hit. He's a UFA. Ryan is the number 2 cap hit. Carlson's number 3 UFA. Duchesne, number 4 UFA. Gaborik is number 5. All in green. So why in green? Because who knows if any of them will be with the team by the end of the year. Gaborik was a capped up that they picked up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Eugene Melnyk looking at the books and going, I don't want this guy on the books. Look at the production compared to the money. Just trade him out. And then they'll have to get hosed on a trade for him, I would think. Bobby Ryan, they've been trying to tie him to Erik Karlsson. That likely is why Karlsson's still a member of the team. Karlsson, Duchesne, and Stone, do any of them have any chance of wanting to stay in Ottawa? They're going to need a fast start to the year. They're going to need to come together. This is a team that desperately needs all of the players during the offseason to sit in a huddle, whether it's in a locker room, whether it's in a bar, whatever, hash everything out and talk it amongst themselves, so that these guys who are UFAs next summer know, is this a team that I'm sticking with long term? This screams players only meeting. Because I don't know that management's doing themselves any favors. Now, they traded out Hoffman. Part of the reason they got rid of Hoffman was so Karlsson would be happy and he'd stay. Then they appear to have lowballed Karlsson on contract offers. And then they allowed other teams to talk contract with him and potentially work out a trade after. See, the brain pain took 4.5 minutes, and now it's here. Plus player, Ryan Dzingel, because why not? Dzingel scores points and goals, and he's a useful player. And seemingly, I haven't heard anything about him or Pajot wanting out. So, congratulations. Minus player, go for it. This was a team that was at least supposed to be in the hunt. They picked up Duchesne. The bottom fell out from underneath them, and everything fell apart. So is Duchesne the issue? Is it the Karlsson issue now that's going to make him a minus? Because if they go into the season with Karlsson, is that a distraction? Is Stone going to become a distraction because maybe he wanted more money and maybe he's not going to be happy, or maybe he wanted term, or maybe he just wants out of Ottawa? We don't know. Stone publicly, as far as I know, hasn't said anything. Bobby Ryan, like, there's so much to look at with this team and say, hey, I don't know. The MVP is Karlsson. Karlsson can make everything better. Karlsson can make everything better by coming to training camp, deciding he wants to remain a Senator, playing really well, being healthy, and somehow with a quick start, let's say they win 7 of their first 10, maybe Karlsson says this team still has a chance to compete and has a chance to win, and I want to be here. Maybe with all the new kids coming in, maybe once he's in the locker room and he realizes Hoffman's gone to Florida, I don't have to see Hoffman in my locker room anymore, maybe he'll feel better. Maybe this was bothering him more than any of us know. Top 6 forwards. Again, the guys in green, to me, personally, are in flux. Do they remain with the team? Bodker, you're in black, kid. You're staying. Duchesne, Stone, Dzingel, Pajot, and Ryan. So again, Duchesne, Stone, and Ryan all project to be in the top 6. And none of them potentially could be in the lineup at the end of the year. Pierre Dorion, let's say this team falls apart and they're at the bottom of the league, and there's a good chance Colorado is getting a number 1 pick that could be Jack Hughes. Dorion has to move guys who aren't staying to get first-round draft picks back, so Ottawa doesn't sit there and watch the entire first round take place while they've finished at or near the bottom of the league. They can't afford to do that. That's why this past draft, there was a lot of talk that Ottawa might move that number 1 draft pick. Top 4 defensemen, Karlsson, Chabot, Ceci, and Borowiecki or Wolanin. Ideally, Wolanin will step up and play a top 4 role. That being said, Harper, Weidman could get in there as well, but Borowiecki, I don't think should be in the top 4, personally. But here's the thing. So Karlsson is this wild card. We don't know what's going on with Karlsson. But Cody Ceci, as a restricted free agent, only signed a 1-year extension for $4.3 million, and that was awarded to him in arbitration. So he may not be happy, or the team may not be happy, and he may be on his way out of town too. Isn't that fun? Could happen. Let's get to goaltending. Well, goaltending last season wasn't great. Anderson makes a lot of money. Doesn't show up in this list, but at $4.5 million at his age, he does make a lot of money for what he provides and what he's able to do. Condon's in there's the backup. You'll notice Anderson's in green. Why? Rumor was out in June that he wanted a trade. Yeah. This honestly, I can't do a preview for Ottawa and not mention this stuff. Because by the time the season rolls around, this whole roster could be overhauled. And I can't wait until October 1st to do a season preview for Ottawa. Maybe as a lark, if everybody gets moved out, I'll do a brand new one because the whole team's different. But I doubt it. Now, if Anderson asked for a trade and Dorion looked and there's no interest, that's bad for Anderson because then he doesn't really want to be here. Dorion knows he doesn't want to be here. There isn't really a better option in goal. And, yeah. Anderson has another year left on his contract after this one. I do believe. Let me just go quickly check. I'm 99% sure on this. Yeah, he's got at $4.75 million, he's got 2 years left. Sorry, I said 4.5, it's 4.75. Yeah, that's a lot of money. And I love Craig Anderson's story in last year. In 2016-17 was one of those inspirational things, of course. The Senators had the emotional return of Clark MacArthur for what would prove to be the final games of his career. And there was all these great emotional stories, and Pajot was this inspirational guy, and now all that inspiration seems to be gone. So is it this bad? And I did the how bad is it in Ottawa, and we all kind of came to the conclusion it's bad. Now, is it as bad as this logo with these eyes? It's bad. You can't unsee these eyes, but I'm saying they could bounce back. If Duchesne finds his game, if Carlson's, comes out of the gate healthy and happy and decides he wants to stay, if he can convince Anderson that he wants to stick around, and they all rally behind the idea they're underdogs, and I'm reaching. I'm really reaching. Additions, Bodker, Carey, and McKenna. Bodker's the only one who's going to see a lot of ice time at the NHL level. Paul Carey could. He played 60 games in the NHL last year. And Mike McKenna only comes in if either Anderson or Condon are moved. Maybe they saw something with McKenna in the Calder Cup run of Texas, which came up just short against Toronto. Maybe they saw something in McKenna's game that made them say, all right, he's a good number 3. Or maybe he's a number 4. As I said, they lost in the second round in 2017. They lost in the first round in 2015. Haven't made the playoffs other than that. Potential rookies, it's a long list here because of all of this turmoil. Logan Brown, Philip Chlapik, and Christian Wolanin. Wolanen's still technically a rookie, and I've got him as maybe top 4. But Andreas Englund, Brady Tkachuk, Alex Formenton, and Marcus Högberg are on the list too. Högberg could come in as the backup if Condon or Anderson are out or injured, and if McKenna is not really the number 3 guy. Alex Formenton was a guy that was kind of he played one game last year and then got sent down. He is basically seen as potential top 6 forward. Brady Tkachuk is the huge wild card here. And again, I could have delayed it. I don't think Tkachuk's going to play in the NHL this year. As far as I know, he hasn't made up his mind for sure as to whether he's going back to college or he's playing in the NHL. But as far as I can tell, he's leaning towards college. I think that might be best for him, even though it's horrible news for Ottawa if he does that. If Tkachuk had already announced that he's going to play in the NHL, I'd have him right here. I might have him right here, to be honest. I might just throw him on the first line. But Tkachuk might be looking at his team and saying, no. He's not going to say it, but he might be thinking it. And it adds a whole new level, because if Tkachuk plays this year for Ottawa, this could change things. Tkachuk could score 20 goals, 25. Could add that physical presence up front, could get them a few extra wins, might take them out of Jack Hughes territory. Colorado's Jack Hughes territory. But if he signs and stays in college, then what we're looking at here is not good enough on any level. How did the channel vote? One person said they're going to finish first. I will assume that was a mistake. 2 people said second, and 2 people said third. I assume the 5 of you live in a house together, or Eugene Melnick voted 5 times. That's all I've got, because I can't find a logical reason why somebody would think this team can bounce back to third. But I tell you, on it, and I will say this, all sarcasm aside, if you are among these 5 votes, or the 0.9% that picked them finish 4th, I admire your optimism about the Senators, and it is fans like you guys that the Senators need. This team doesn't draw. This team needs people to sit in the stands. This team needs more support. And I don't blame fans for staying away. I don't. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, because they haven't really... I mean, I could last year, but this past season, no. And the bad news is that even when they were a good team, and they're in the second round, they still weren't drawing. But at least they're not tarping off rows of seats this year. Ridiculous. We can't sell seats, so we're just going to start lighting them on fire. That to me is the logical sense of it. Why'd you burn down the building? Couldn't fill that one. Going to build a new one. 5% or 3% picked them to finish 5th. 5.6% picked 6th. 19.9% picked them to finish 7th. And I'm going to go ahead and assume, because I can't see all of the polls, I only see all the votes. I'm going to go ahead and assume the people who picked them finish 7th had Montreal in 8th. They got 69.4% of the vote to finish 8th. And yes, I agree. This is very difficult to overcome. This is very difficult for Ottawa to get past on any level. Guy Boucher might be an excellent coach. If he can get this team to the playoffs, he should have a statue in Ottawa and maybe at the Hockey Hall of Fame. This is going to be a real challenge, and a guy like Logan Brown could push into a top 6 role. Chlapik could push into a top 6 role. You could see rookies pushing their way in. Brady Tkachuk plays. Yep, we're good. But there's so many dark clouds in every part of this team that it would be very hard to look at a group of rookies and say, oh yeah, no, that'll fix it. That'll make it better. So there you go. I understand this is a longer preview than the other ones. I just felt that with Ottawa, there's more to go over. There's more to discuss. It is a far more... I'm trying to think. I can't think of another roster that has more controversy with on the ice, off the ice lineup, more players who we're not sure if they're going to stay there. Carolina had their fire sale, and it's basically over. Everybody's out. Ottawa hasn't even started yet. They really haven't, unless the Hoffman trade counts as part of a fire sale. To me, again, I'll say this one last time, the Hoffman trade happens because they want Karlsson to stay. There's no other reason to trade Hoffman for Bodker and parts. I mean, no matter how well Mikhail Bodker plays, he's not Hoffman. So there you go. The Ottawa Senators, a very intriguing team that we will all be watching, but people will probably be watching it for the wrong reasons. And this O right here that they were going to go to as the logo for this coming season, that appears to have been what they were doing. Everything on their website was going towards this logo. Maybe they understand that O looks like a tire, and it would be very easy for somebody to Photoshop it to make that logo a fiery one. There you go. The Ottawa Senators preview. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And let me know in the comment section below. Is it this bad? Or are we going to be looking back on them and the Islanders next year and say, man, if only we'd known how great things were going to get. Is there anything that can save Erik Karlsson and his career as a Senator? Or is he gone? Thank you so much. I'll talk to you again soon.